We could do the camera. We could
You
do the
may
whole
not be
thing.
able to air the podcast and give him a mic.
No, that's why we should do it. No? No? Okay.
They're silent fans.
Yeah, apparently.
Just give him 30 minutes.
Have you been watching the World Cup? The Women's World Cup? No?
He
A little
can't
bit.
see.
I saw a catch a game here or there. I'm not going out of my way to watch it either. You turn on the TV in the morning, though, it's on. Ireland lost to Nigeria this morning. And Australia beat Canada. That's all I know.
Heartbreaking.
That's literally all I know, is what I saw today. How we doing? Yeah. So, anyway, you went fishing this morning?
Yes. Yep.
You did?
I invited Lorelei, but she said, no, you don't have to bring me back in, because I didn't want to get in as soon as she would need to be in. Because someone has to slave away this fine institute right here.
I wanted to make it to CrossFit, so
Yeah.
I let them go out for
too.
a boys' trip.
Boys trip.
My phone didn't ring. That's cool. Don't
I
worry
thought
about
you were
it.
working. I thought you were hard at work over here.
Yeah.
It's okay. You didn't want to babysit them.
Yeah, probably not.
What'd you catch?
We got a wahoo.
Wahoo!
Yep.
Morning troll wahoo?
Yes.
Yeah?
We kind of had almost a double. And one of the planers tripped, and then we ran over to it. It pulled off, and then 20 seconds later, one of the other rods got hit. And that was a 43-pounder.
Mm-hmm. Well, nice.
That's the best one we've got on the planer
Not bad.
gear.
Yeah, 43-pounder. Not bad for a Monday morning trip.
Grom trip.
Grom trip. All the kids I go speedo fishing with and bait fishing with, took them out one last time before college.
Yeah, so you guys are heading out soon.
He hosts take a kid off a pier. That's his thing.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
All the kids that come with me bait fishing, they all
Right.
grew up on the piers.
Oh, pier
The
rats.
piers, bridge fishing,
Yeah,
snook
little
fishing.
pier rats. There you go.
To take them out, get them to see the better side of life, the finer things.
Okay.
Most of them don't sleep very much, so sometimes I have to go in their houses and wake them up because they're
Really?
still asleep from snook fishing the night before.
Yeah, well, you're kind of an animal, so I think we're going to get into that a little bit on the show today, right? So, without further ado, look, you'd be so proud of me, Lorelei. I wrote down my entire intro now, and I think Yanni would be proud of me too, because every time I do this, I'm always like, oh, I forgot to say that, I forgot to say that. So I actually wrote down my intro, but it's the same thing I say like every time, so it's just a matter of like not forgetting it. So I want to officially welcome you both to the Connected by Water podcast, right? So welcome to the Connected by Water podcast, powered by Joey Cardi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and fueled by our very good friends at Papa's PLR Rum, who remind you never to be a spectator. Technically, the bar is closed today because you're both underage, but that's okay. Your parents are here, and it's all right. So, because I can have the drink with your parents, so but not with you.
I'll stick to some Diet Coke. It's fine.
There you go. Good. And you have nothing to
I'm
drink.
healthy. I have water.
You have water? All right, good. So I'm your host with the toast, Dennis Friel, and we are coming to you from the Connected by Water Studio Gallery, comfortably located between the Intercoastal and the sand in scenic and sunny Pompano Beach, Florida. We are a Waypoint hosted podcast. You can find us there and also watch, listen, and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Do not forget to hit that like button, and please, we would love to hear from you in the comments or by email at sales@connectedbywater.com, where Lorelei will receive that email.
I will promptly respond from the business hours of.
Absolutely. So I'd also like to express our thanks to our associate sponsors, the W Sauce. Don't call it a barbecue sauce. Don't call it Worcestershire. It's just magic cooking sauce. Make sure you're on the lookout for their latest product, the breakfast sauce. It's just good stuff. So, all right. And thanks to the special support we receive from our pals over at Funor Sunglasses and Olakai. So, here we are at the Connected by Water podcast. You two, Lorelei and Jonah Bennett. We're calling it Twin-Sanity. That is the name of the episode. That is the name that I thought you should have named the boat. But it's Twin-Sanity 2.
Twin-Sanity from the Fin-Sanity.
Right. And how do I introduce you both properly? And I've tried to figure out the best way to do this. I've been thinking about it all day. And I want to say that I'm going to introduce you as your unofficial uncle, because that's how I feel about you both. I've known you both since before you were even born. we go way back. We talk about this on the podcast multiple times. Go way back with your parents who are here at the bar and refuse to be on camera or mic, but that's okay. We'll forgive them for that. And Lorelei, you're my assistant here. You're my super assistant, right?
Thank you.
You're no stranger. Yes, I can't get the title wrong. That is your official title.
What is the official title?
Super assistant.
Super
I worked
assistant.
hard for that one.
She earned that.
Yeah.
That definitely is a fitting title for her. And you've been here for 2 years, and you're leaving. And Jonah, you're leaving. You're going to college. You guys are moving on to like bigger and better things, and we couldn't be more proud of you. So today is going to be all about who you guys are, how you grew up, where you came from, and where you're headed. Okay? So if you prepared for this?
I think we're ready.
But first, we have to announce
Here
our
we
Star
go.
Bright Do-Gooder.
Do-gooder.
Right? So our do-gooders are Neil and Robin Neighbor, who are husband and wife do-gooder team and friends of Captain Bouncer Smith. And their claim to fame on the do-gooder level is that they pick up trash daily right here in our backyard in the Everglades after they're done fishing a full day. They don't do videos or photos because they're old school, but they do it just because it's the right thing to do. So you won't find them on social media, but Bouncer Smith wanted to make sure that they got the attention that they deserved. He nominated them as a do-gooder, and they win the bucket of Star Bright goodies worth over $200. So congratulations to Robin and Neil Neighbor, Naber. So cool. So tell me, which one of you would like to tell me how all this started? Now, we know that you grew up fishing with your parents, and you guys really kind of, we're going to talk about fishing first and foremost, and we're going to talk about all your accolades in school. But, this is a fishing show that's not about fishing. So I want to talk a little bit of fishing first, right? So talk to me about growing up here fishing.
So we both started fishing. I mean, we had baby swings on the boat. And literally, there's pictures of us with mahi that are bigger than we are.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great-grandfather, Pop, and our Grandma Bennett, who loved it. She was known for her snapper fishing. And Pop fished with us from the time we were itty-bitties.
From off the dock to going out of the Keys with us.
Yeah.
One of the oldest memories I have is looking in the kitchen before it was redone. It had a picture of us. There's one with us in the leaves and one with us holding a jack off the dock. We were like 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor is
3?
that Jonah's first jack that he caught off the dock, we were holding for a picture and I kicked it off the dock.
Really?
Sorry, Jonah.
So that tells the whole story right there, right?
And we grew up fishing, and when we were about in 2nd grade, Jonah started tournament fishing, or we both started tournament fishing.
At the age of 9, I think we fished the rodeo the first time.
Oh.
At the age of 8 or 9.
Yeah, I started with Ladies Fish Off, and then he hopped on the rodeo. When he would fish, it was like 8 to 10 foot seas for the rodeo all the time.
Wasn't there one tournament where you had school? It was the rodeo. It was Friday. We both had school. You caught like a 30-pound blackfin, 25-pound blackfin.
Yeah,
and
I got-
asked Dad to take you in, go back to school, and went right back out.
I went to school that day.
Wait. What happened now?
So it was a rough rodeo, as always.
Oh, yeah,
and
the rodeo was usually...
we were on the original
time.
31 Mako, the OG Twin-Sanity that went through it all.
Mm-hmm.
And we caught a good fish right in the morning, and then I've gotten seasick my whole life. Luckily now I know how to generally control it.
Peanut butter.
I chunk a lot, but I've gotten used to it. And so I asked to get taken in. I was in like 6th grade, so I went to school that day, and everyone was like, "Didn't you have a tournament today?" I was like, "Yeah, I fished this morning." We're here.
So from those tournaments, then we really got into it probably when we were 14, 13.
No, we were in 4th grade.
Fourth
we were in 4th
was
grade
the
when we
Chump Snatchers.
started.
When was the Chump Snatchers?
We were in 4th grade when we started the Chump Snatchers.
That is when it all began. So
Okay.
on our buddy Greg Acorn, big name around here, these parts.
Big name.
Yeah.
Big Greg.
He got us into it with our dad, and they put together a little team. We have Caden Acorn,
Well,
Kyler Acorn.
there were 5 of us kids and 2 dads, and they were like, "Let's fish tournaments with this." And I think from the start, we were in is the Dino a 30?
a 31 Dino, 30-foot Dino.
Anyways, it's the color. It was like mustard yellow. You couldn't miss it. And there were like a bunch of these kids and 2 dads who were like, come on, we have 3 dozen goggle eye. Let's fish a tournament.
Uh-huh.
And that started it. And then we got hooked. And then one of our friends, Peyton, got a 35 Sea Hunter. We fished a couple years on that. We did, I think our best was 8th or 7th on the Slam one year. Found a random cobia, got a couple kingfish, and did well on the Slam.
That was another full kids team.
Mm-hmm.
And then our dad got the Freeman, the Twin-Sanity 2, and that's where it took off from there. The first year we didn't do so well, but that first year I started fishing with Bryce Statham on Blue Moon with Captain Zach, and then started fishing with Digger Rich with Alex, and that's where I really started to kind of gain my ground a little bit and learn that it wasn't just...
Started to spread your wings?
Yeah, it wasn't just trolling baits. It's trolling baits here and there and looking at the conditions. And then the next year, so last year that was like our breakout year for us. I think we got 5th overall in the
Saltwater series.
2/3 that year. We got 2nd place in the Slicker Butte with Jack and Nicole.
Yep. We had a good ladies fish off showing with a 96-pound big eye.
Yeah, caught a 96-pound big eye and a 2nd place kingfish there. And
yeah, I mean, and growing up in Pompano, like, it's not just about like that we've grown up fishing. We've grown up doing it with everyone that we love, and now our fishing team is literally our family. Like, we had family sushi night last week, and it's always...
Last week we had our first international tournament where we went to the Bahamas, and we came back. Everyone came over for sushi afterwards. It's like she said, it's a family. That's probably my least favorite part about going away for college. You leave all your friends and the people you've grown up with here.
Mm-hmm.
You're 4.5 hours away at Gainesville.
Yeah. The bottom line is, I mean, we've grown up doing it. It started as a family sport. Now it's so much more than that for both of us because of where we live. I mean, it's no secret that Pompano's a fishing town, and that's basically what most of what we do is built on. So,
everyone we've watched growing up has fished, and that's just something that we've caught on thanks to our dad and Greggy pushing us into it, and our mom for allowing us to do this.
Oh yeah,
skipping some days of school because I'm sick.
And big shout out to Jonah's twin sister who got him to travel fish because
oh, we have to tell that. So what got me on, what allowed me to
Just gonna
to
hang
really
out.
step forward, I guess.
tell it.
Where we just fished a
You
tournament.
talking about the tournament, the one that you just recently?
No,
this is
to
his
get me to
original
go
Okay.
with
Kingfish
the Digger Rich
tournament.
and start traveling
Okay.
the country for the Kingfish tournaments. What tournament did we fish the week before?
It was some
Chase and
OAPB
Tails.
tournament.
Chase and Tails or the
It
Big
doesn't
Dog
matter.
Tackle Kingfish tournament. And
You know,
that
let me
tournament-
just interject too. Like, all right, so you guys are like, you tournament fish all the time. You really do, and I love it, right? And that's and so full disclosure here for those that don't know the full story about Lorelei and me. You know, her working here like all the time. She's incredible. Like I think that. I would think the only person on planet Earth that is more sad about you leaving for college is probably your mother. You know, so but I'm a close second. Maybe your
not sad, I'm
dad might
leaving.
be a little sad too. I'm a close second to those people over there too. I am losing, you know, not only just like the best person that I've ever had work for me ever, but you know, just you know, it's a friend. You know, because we
Gonna
hang
make me
we hang
cry.
out. Don't. It only took 5 minutes. No. So, but it's true. But you know, but all the time is she's like, I got a tournament coming up. Can I take off? Yes. You know what I mean? That's part of being working at Connected by Water. It's just like living that life and just being connected by water. And I almost look at it as like, well, shit, if I can't go, you might as well be able to go. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, so you guys are fishing all the time, and I love it. And that was probably one of the most inspiring things about watching both of you grow up. Is just to see where you guys have come, because we've all fished together. I fished together with you guys when you were like little tiny kids, and it's to see where you guys have evolved now, and just to hear your sister talking to the customers on the phone about fishing like all the time is like inspiring, and it just like warms my heart. So just like hearing you guys just go off and spatter about this is like it just warms my heart. So continue.
warms ours either because we really haven't looked back like this. I don't think ever.
Well, that's what today is. Today for me is really honestly, and and for your parents too, I'm sure to just be here. That's probably why they want to be here too. It's completely a retrospective of all this stuff. Like you guys are crossing over from the threshold.
Oh, she's crying.
It's okay. It's okay. We can all cry today. We're all going to cry a lot today.
Are those tears of joy or tears of pain?
Yeah. So listen, what this all represents is, and you said earlier a few minutes ago that the one thing that you're going to miss the most is the whole bond and the family and the friends and everything like that. Listen, that's going to be there, right? You guys have truly made the best of it, really, and not only just socially but academically. You guys have really balanced the whole thing, in my eyes, just absolutely 100% perfectly. If there is a roadmap for what a young person should strive to be in this world, it is you two. That is for sure. Unequivocally, I have no doubt in my mind about it, right? But today is a retrospective and a reflection on all that and about the threshold that you guys are about to cross, right? And what I want to hear, what the future has in store in your minds about your own lives, right? Because I have a pretty good idea where it's heading. I always make this joke too, like this one's going to be governor of Florida one day. Like, I have no doubt about it. She said, no, I don't. Well, you'd make an excellent governor of Florida, 100% for sure. And you're going to save the world in some way or shape or form. We haven't figured it out yet, but it's going to happen, right? So anyway, continue with your tournament stories.
Just so how Jonah, how we really have taken off in it is that he got invited randomly to fly up to Biloxi to fish a tournament with Team Digger Rich. Right. And my mom was like, absolutely not. I've never met these people. I've never, where did this come from?
Yeah, keep in mind our mom likes things about maybe a week and a half in advance.
We're planners in the Bennett household.
I got the invite Saturday night, and I will be scheduled to fly up to go help them pre-fish the next day on Sunday. And there's a week of school the following week, but I knew Thanksgiving break was 2 weeks away, so I'd only miss 1 week of school. And I told
Keep in mind, we go to a very academically rigorous high school. Missing a week is like missing a month of regular school.
Yeah. So all right, I'm gonna splash a little bit of color in here for the audience right now when you bring that up. Okay. So, and I know I just asked you to tell me about the tournaments, but since you brought that up, I'm just going to throw this in here. Okay. You guys are incredibly intelligent, but not only that, you're incredibly hardworking, which I think matters just as much. Right? There's a lot of smart people in the world. Just like in the art world, there's a lot of talented artists, but there's a lot of talented artists that are doing nothing with it or not being everything that they can be with it just because they're not working hard enough at it. Can't bridge that gap of the two. You guys do a great job. So I want you to list a little bit of things. Now, I can sit here and list your resume because I tell you it's like a broken record, and I tell it to all the time. I understand that you have a very similar track record, if not more in some cases, right? So National Merit Scholars, National Honor Society.
National Merit Scholar.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the finalist.
Okay. And then, so explain all this to me.
So I was more of I'm involved in all of our clubs, and Jonah's the more
she
sports.
Was more friendly with the administrators at our school. So
I ran the school and then helped him get through it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great team.
I was in the back in the gym with Coach Didymus and helping out with the sports. I played 5 sports for our school, and Lorelei played 3, 4.
I was water polo team captain. We don't know our exact school record, but it is estimated that I hold our school record for goals.
Really?
Yes. And then swimming, I did all 4 years. I've done it since I was in first grade. And I made it to states for that. And I'll actually be going, when I get to UF, I'll hopefully be playing club water polo there. So I'll continue that. But as far as school and academically goes, I was very involved with our National Honor Society, student government, CCA, like we talked about in our last podcast.
We'll get to the CCA thing in a minute, for sure.
Yeah, being a small school,
President of our junior class, right?
Yep. Vice, but we had to.
She was unofficially the president.
Unofficially.
Are we allowed to say that?
You took over the helm?
Yes, okay. In all aspects.
Right, that doesn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah, it was great because she and one of our other friends really ran the school, and whenever I would do something bad or step on admin's toes, they would kind of smooth it out for me, so
okay.
I didn't get kicked out.
Yeah, I like to do the background of Jonah doesn't really mean what he's saying.
Yeah, because I would say...
So, yeah, you'd say what?
I would say what everyone was thinking and not what everyone was saying.
And then
you know what? That's a great attribute. It really is. It really is. That's a great quality. I might be paraphrasing something here, that because we would listen. Although you don't think so, she loves you a lot. And she talks about you positively all the time, right? Without you realizing it. So I'm just gonna get that out in the air. But you recently had a visit to the Navy,
Yes.
right?
I got back.
Then that was kind of an intense kind of thing
Yeah,
up
it was
in Great
18
Lakes,
days
right?
up in the Great Lakes.
Okay.
A modified boot camp, so it wasn't a full. I think they do 8 weeks, 10 weeks boot camp. We had 18 days, and that was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
It was
In what way?
in the way that what you're signing up for is, it's not like I did JROTC in high school, and I knew it would be a step up from that because NROTC is kind of a stepping stone to get you an officer in the Navy, and then after that you're commanding soldiers, you're commanding enlisted Navy sailors in the Navy, so they're being real with you. It's no more games. It's like if you don't make your rack right, they would treat it as, oh, you just didn't see something on the radar, now your ship's blown up. And it was constantly, if you don't do this, people die. Don't do this, people die. And that
Yelling at you. Don't do this, you don't catch a fish. You don't do this, you don't land. Right. So it's kind of
really
the tables
familiar.
have turned on you, right? A little bit.
So it's a lot of. It was intense, but we made it through it. And for your NROTC unit at college.
How did that feel? Like what was that? I'm not trying to like egg on you, but I really want to know how that made you feel.
Sad.
Sad,
depressed. It was a lot of.
Okay.
I nicknamed New Student Indoctrination. I nicknamed it Naval Sanitary Institution because we cleaned for 4 or 5 hours a day, and that was our, just get through it. You get to chow, you get to eat, back to cleaning. Get to chow, get to eat, back to cleaning, and then someone messed up.
Maybe he'll take these lessons back to our bathroom at home and clean up our bathroom counter.
Looks great.
All right. This isn't a Jonah roast. I have not seen you, Jonah. I have not seen you since you've been back from this trip. So I really genuinely wanted to find out like how that was for you, because I was very curious.
As you can see, I can't talk, so it was stunning.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was good. Like I learned a lot. I learned what I really wanted to do. I went in thinking that I kind of wanted to fly.
Okay.
Now I came out thinking I wanted to do something else.
Okay.
But you get to talk to a lot of the ensigns, which are officers in the Navy, and they tell you about their path and what they're doing. And that was great because all the briefs there, are true. They're 100% factual. What they tell you goes for you as well. And that gives you a great view on what you're going to go into. Compared to before that, it's kind of, oh, there's something online saying this. Somebody's saying this may happen. But there it's like, okay, they're briefing us on this. It's real. Helps you get a good mindset for college.
Okay.
And NROTC.
So ultimately your decision is to go to UF.
Yes.
Right? And do the ROTC program there, right? And so, which is great. I mean, you got to make your own decision and just do what you feel is like right for yourself.
Yes. So with NROTC, you have a year as kind of a trial year.
Okay.
So you're still midshipman, which is my rank in the Navy right now. You continue on with your college, your studies, and you also are learning leadership skills, and you're doing PT. And if you decide at the end of that first year that it's not for you, you can back out with no harm, no foul. And after that, you'll sign off and you will commission as an officer in the Navy if you do stay your next 2, 3, and 4 fourth year college. Okay,
now you're a National Merit Scholar.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So National Merit is based on your junior year PSAT score. So the PSAT, junior year, everyone's thinking about your SAT, but this National Merit Scholarship, you have to pay attention to your PSAT, and it is similar to the SAT, big standardized test. Whoever scores well within the state, it's based on by state because each state has different educational standards. So Florida, we have a little easier, but it's based on
Proud Floridians here.
Your state's academic standards, and if you're pretty much top 99 percentile in the state for your academics, you get this scholarship. And there are 2 levels. There's a National Merit semifinalist. Well, I guess National Merit. What's the base one that you got?
There's just like there's rankings. Like it goes through and it's like you were in this percentile, you get this, and then it just keeps going up to finalists and semifinalists. So I don't know.
Where did you end up?
Not that high.
Well, I mean, not that high considering your brother, but not. I mean, not high for most.
Commended.
Right?
National Merit Commendation. That's what you had. And then there's National Merit Semifinalist, National Merit Finalist. So the finalists get a full ride to college. Semifinalists get to put that on the resume, but it doesn't necessarily get them the money. And commendment just helps you with applications to colleges.
So I want to make one thing perfectly clear, though. Okay, that you said not that high. It's still high. Okay, and I want to just sidebar over here to your parents. Like, really great job with these two from that regard. Awesome, right? And incredible, right? Really great stuff. So, okay, I wanted to get that out of the way, right? I wanted the audience to understand fully and completely that, you know, it's not just a couple of kids in front of me, okay? And I want to really explain and illustrate that fact to everyone. So, please tell me your tournament stories.
Long story short about the Biloxi, Jonah asked my mom, like, hey, can I fly out today to go fish with this team you've never met and you know nothing about? And he had to like chase her around the house, and she was like, no, never.
And she locked herself in the bathroom to get away with me. And the next day, this will tell you really how my parents feel about me. The next day, we go out to breakfast, and I don't think, were you with us, Lorelei?
I don't know. I was somewhere in there trying to get him to go on this trip because I knew it was a good opportunity and I wanted the house to myself for a week. So my mom was still against it, and I was like, Mom, like, how much do you really want to see Jonah this week? She was like, not much. I was like, well, then send him to Biloxi.
And that is how I got to fish.
So now he travel kingfishes, and I get to hop on with his team too, which is really fun.
Like this year, she came down to Key West with us, caught a 74-pound
yeah,
wahoo?
74-pound wahoo pre-fishing, 48-pound kingfish, and then the second Jonah got there, the boat broke. So I think that says a little bit.
Yeah. So what was the one tournament where you got like stuck at the airport?
Every single tournament he goes to.
But there was the one in North Carolina, wasn't it? That was a really bad one.
I was getting flown up to North Carolina, and we used American Airlines. There are a bunch of regional airports up in North Carolina, and you would use American to get from like the international airports to the regional ones. And American Airlines is not that great at making sure all their flights take off. So I got stuck in North Carolina. I missed day one of a tournament in North Carolina, and I needed to go it was a 5-hour car drive.
You're 17 at this point,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
So I had to stay the night at a friend's house who lived. I Ubered, went for 45 minutes over to Mint Hill.
Yeah.
Stayed with our family friends that we'd travel with every year. So it was nice to see them, but I missed day one. I flew in for the end of day one, watched Alex and them come in and weigh a goose egg, unfortunately, because they didn't have the little Jonah baby. And I got to fish day two, but it's unfortunate.
And
I remember her telling me this story like as it's going on, like in real time.
Jonah's stuck in an airport.
Yeah, and all I could think of is like, well, it's 17-year-old Jonah. I'm thinking in my head, and I'm like, and I kind of trust that a little bit more than most adults, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
Well, he also got.
Yeah, I was just sad because I was texting the boys saying like, "Hey, did you guys catch anything?" And frantically
on his way home from Navy, he got stuck in an airport. On his way to Navy, he got stuck in an airport. On your way to Biloxi, when he had to fly through New Orleans, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he flew to New Orleans, and he was supposed to get picked up by his team that he hadn't met before. And they were having an issue with the truck, so the truck couldn't get him. So he had to Uber across state lines.
Ubered an hour and a half that night.
At 16 to go fish a tournament.
Let's clear this up. Our parents are negligent. They did know the team.
See, this is the moment, Mindy.
Not negligent.
This is the exact moment where I'm mad at you for not letting me put a camera on you to get that face.
We've known
the
team.
Podcast.
I've fished next to the team for the past year at that time.
Wow.
Mindy wins. I lose.
It's going to be a family conversation later.
What did I say?
Nothing.
I said you're not negligent. I was proving why you guys weren't.
We
because
have it
you
all
knew.
on film.
We'll rewind
recorded
it,
the whole
don't
thing.
worry.
It's okay. We
Sure.
can go back to film and check it out. I'm
And
pretty,
I'll have a
pretty sure
smile
you
on my
said
face when
negligent.
you watch it. I said not negligent.
It's all good. It's all good. Listen, let's segue from
Instant
this thing.
replay.
I have a lot of questions for you guys, right?
See, this is the issue in school. People just
ton of
listen to me and
questions.
don't listen to the facts that I say and put things in my mouth that I didn't say.
Anyways,
Anyway, see, this is why I'm so glad you both are going to UF. He's going to need you.
Yeah, I need you
He'll
to
call
get in
me.
touch with the admin at UF.
he'll call me and be like, "How do I do my laundry?"
No, I have Zach for that.
Hey, high five out of it. There you go. Hey,
I
we're good. Listen,
I
I
feel
have
like
a
I'm
lot.
about to get kicked out.
No,
It's okay, buddy.
totally
Can I
good,
just
dude.
go back to goggle eye fishing?
We're all good. We're totally good. We're totally good. We're totally good.
No, we aren't.
We are
I know that
Anyways.
look.
because I have a lot of questions for you guys.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I have a ton of questions, but you know, other people do as well. And we're going to get to our Papa's Full Our Strange questions right about now. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Yeah?
We're ready.
All right, cool. So, our first question comes from a one Carlene Rabinski, who could not be here tonight, right? As anyone knows that watches the show, Carlene is America's favorite bartender, right? And she is very upset that she's on her way back from North Carolina right now, and she couldn't be here for this. But she wants to ask this question. Is it hard for Jonah to follow in such amazing sister's footsteps? That she says, just kidding. How did you both become so amazing? And I'm going to answer that question for you.
It's the
It's because
parental units over
We're at
there.
the parental units over there. So I can speak.
It's all the beatings.
I've known them for a very long time, and all the beatings that they've given you, yes. No. You guys are amazing parents. You know, and you guys have done an amazing job with these two.
Thanks,
and thank
parents.
you very much.
Good work.
Thank you
parental
very
units.
much for letting me have her for the past 2 years. It's really been an incredible experience for me. So thank you very much. Harley, if you're wondering why her parents are sitting in the room, and that is the reason why they become so amazing. So that's the answer. So the next one comes from my wife, Liz Friel, right? She says, Lorelei, you'll soon be released from that slave driver of a boss. What's the first thing you'll do with your newfound freedom?
Well, my last day is August 9th. It's going to be
Right.
a very sad day.
Very sad day.
A day filled with doom.
I told her that on my calendar, I have just took a Sharpie and just put I colored the whole box of that date black. That's it.
Well, I have to pack for college. That's probably
Right.
number one that I'll be doing.
Well, number
And
one, you're going to go pre-fish for the showdown.
I am going to go pre-fish for the showdown.
There you go.
I do miss pre-fishing because where we went to high school, we don't have school on Fridays, so I would come in and work every Friday. And then Jonah and the gang would all pre-fish, and I would just provision the food, and I miss pre-fishing, so that'll be a fun one. I'm excited for that. Don't worry,
Okay.
you're not a slave driver, Dennis. It's okay.
Oh, thanks.
Don't believe what anyone tells you.
Yeah, we like to catch big fish pre-fish day. Are you excited?
Yes, Team Twin-Sanity is very good at catching big fish pre-fish day, and then a solid nothing regular tournament day.
No, that was just last tournament. Slam gets us every year. 1 year we almost sank the boat 3 times.
What's the tournament though? I mean, tell me. This is what I mean. The one that you won. Was it the
So
Fort
the Fort
Pierce?
Pierce
The
King
Fort
Mackerel
Pierce
Invitational.
tournament, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about that. I want to hear about
I
that.
feel like we have to film a commercial for this.
Yeah.
So-
Tell
Great
me
tournament,
about that tournament.
Great organization.
Tell me what happened. Tell me everything about that one.
The tournament was created because of the Invitational Kingfish Tournament in North Carolina.
So there was a lack of kingfish tournaments down here, or tournaments in general for meat fishing that gave you a return on your investment. So a lot of the tournaments down here is you put in a lot of effort to them, put in a lot of time and money, and you really, even if you win, you barely cover your expenses, especially with many of these teams pre-fishing multiple days. So we envision
Right,
from
you're splitting about, you're paying out, and all that. Yeah, and after
Gas.
right. Yeah, gas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we fished the Morehead City Open in North Carolina, and we saw that it was doable to run a tournament with 60 boats and 150 grand for first place. So we thought, okay, why don't we do this down in Florida? So my captain Alex and our team Mike decided to put this together, and Lorelei helped out with this. A couple of our other friends helped out with this, and we made a whole schedule from January to April 22nd was the first day of the tournament. In about 3-4 months, we got 69 boats to come together.
That's great for
$5,000
a first year.
entry fee, which many people.
That's like almost unheard of for a first year tournament.
And most
Unheard
of
of.
most
Yeah.
of these boats, I think we had more out-of-state boats than in-state boats.
Really?
When we told the
That's
in-state
even more unheard of.
When we told the in-state boats it was going to be a $5,000 entry fee and we're expecting over 50 boats, they said not happening.
Mhm.
You'll never get that. There's not enough interest. But with Alex, he knows everyone. Well, everyone knows
Captain
Alex.
Alex Burgess,
Yes.
Supremacy Fishing Charters.
Captain. He.
We should get Alex on the show. You
The,
laugh.
the vegan
fun.
Viking.
The vegan Viking. That's a good one. But he made a couple phone calls, and within 3 months we had over 60 boats, and at a $5,000 entry fee that equated to $185,000 for first place, which for Kingfish, I think that's the biggest payout I've
That's
ever
a great,
seen.
great, yeah.
And along
great
with that, first place got a 185, and we won. We caught a 45 first day of the
Wait,
tournament.
first place got 185? That wasn't
Yes.
the purse?
First place
Yes.
got 185,000.
That's great.
Second place got
Wow.
82,000. Third place got 92,000 because they won the Big Fish Calcutta.
Okay.
And they caught a 64-pound kingfish, which is giant, but won that Calcutta. And third place got, I think, 18,000. Fourth place. So 4 boats won over 15,000. 3 won over 80,000. That is unheard of for kingfishing.
And this wasn't like a put together ragtag tournament with taped rules. Within this tournament was planned in less than a year, and if you could think of some rule, they had it. I mean, because it was ran by locals, they wanted to make sure that no one
It was
was
also
gonna.
ran by like people that fish tournaments
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
the time.
They don't
Yeah,
want
so-
it to
yeah.
be
Alex and Mike have
botched.
been fishing them for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
They know that, hey, this is what needs to happen. If someone asks this, we got to have this. So
Yeah, they had them measure the fish every day. As soon as they caught the fish, they had a code word. I had the joy of helping to pick out that. That was my favorite part.
Really?
was that
It-
squirrelfish and
It was like squirrelfish and then
little toonie.
Yeah, little toonie. Just
But it was awesome to be a part of that. And cherry on top, we won on Dad's boat, won on the Twin-Sanity because our diggerage boat was broken for that tournament. And Alex.
I remember that. I mean, we were at the Pompano Seafood Fest, and these two come rolling up on me, and they're like, "Hey, guess what?" Yeah, I've never seen more proud, glowing faces. Yeah, for sure. That was awesome.
It was a close battle. We had another local boat. We both had a 50-pounder going after another nice fish day two. We had both had a 50 day one, and then day two we both had a 45.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, they had a 43.
it was like within
Close.
ounces of first and second place.
Yeah.
We won by
Yeah.
under half a pound.
Actually, speaking of within ounces, it just is like kind of like a sidebar up at the Jimmy Johnson Atlantic City that we were just at. There was a wahoo that got weighed in 43 pounds, right? And our buddies at Roll Groove, they came up the next on the scale, 43.6.
Oh, that
And they
hurts.
took the wahoo, and I'm sitting there
that's a-
interviewing him, right? And I'm like, dude, do you realize just what happened? And he goes like this. He goes, we had the assumption that might happen, so we let them weigh in first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Keep
kinda
it on
funny.
ice.
Right, exactly. Well, that's awesome about
Yeah,
that
so
tournament.
if you guys want to fish for next year,
Right.
we're capping it at 100 boats. So if you want to fish this event next year, Fort Pierce King Mackerel Invitational,
It's the third weekend of April.
third weekend of April. That may change depending on the moon because Alex wants it to be good fishing, so he may move it up a week, move it back a week depending on the moon
Mhm.
cycle. And it'll be capped at 100 boats. That'll
Smart
be
move.
Yep, that'll be
to do it that way.
$250,000 for first place.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I think I like the fact that he's going to do that with the moon because
I mean, conditions are everything.
people want to. Yeah,
You look at the
and
sailfish
that's
tournaments.
again what I said. You got experienced tournament fishermen running the whole show, and that they have the ability to do that and make that call and
and
do
many
that
of these
again.
other tournaments,
I'm
it's
sure the anglers appreciate it.
yeah, you can't determine it looking forward, but many of these tournaments are won by 7 or 6 sailfish
Yeah,
now. Like
Right.
some years, just such poor sail fishing. Then the next weekend, oh, there's a cold front.
And
Everyone's
here's
catching 20.
24
Yeah, everyone
sailfish
starts
on your
snapping. Yeah.
speedos.
yep.
It's unfortunate that you can't really plan it out like that. And another cool thing we are scheduled for 4 days of fishing. So if there's bad weather on a Saturday or a Sunday, or the Friday, Saturday, or tournament fishing days, the Thursday and Sunday are blocked off in case there's bad weather to move the tournament to a different day so everyone can fish safely. And that's another big thing for them because no one wants to go out in 7-8 foot seas when it's unfishable and just beat yourself up, beat your boat up, and really not have that great of odds of catching good fish, because that's the main goal. Make it a even playing field for everybody.
Even playing field, and I think ultimately, you're fishing a tournament, everyone wants to catch fish. You know what I mean? I mean, in my experience, everything that we've been involved with designing and creating tournaments, and just being involved with tournaments, it's always the tournaments where everyone catches fish, where nobody has a bad time. You know what I mean? And you got to think of the experience of it too. You know what I mean? Even if you win a tournament where not a lot of people caught fish, it was like, okay, cool, we got away with one there. You know what I mean? But if you're in a tournament, and even if you lose, everyone's catching a lot of fish, and you're catching a ton of fish, then it's hard to argue with who won. You know, or coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know what I mean? Hey, they caught 200 and something pounds of fish. We caught 190 pounds of fish.
Oh, well.
It's still a good day. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know you want to win. Like, Jonah's looking at me like, yeah, whatever, dude. I still want to win. I don't care what the day was. You get what I'm saying, though.
Of course.
All right, so the second part of Liz's question is, do you both enjoy fishing together? Be honest.
I love fishing with my sister.
Well,
Let me put
I think
that
it depends on our circumstance. Like, I have so much fun fishing with him when we're, like, doing well and, like, we're getting all hyped up. But then there's other times when I'm like, do you understand I have a heart?
I'll be the first one to say that when I was younger, it was not great to fish with me.
He has a lot of really loud words that like don't always need to be said.
Okay.
I've definitely mellowed with my old age. But,
so listen, Jonah and I have fished together before in a tournament before, right? And it was a lovely experience, right? He was much younger at the time, right? And I think the weight came up and I didn't get the rubber band off immediately. And this little, I mean, you must have been 11, 12, maybe?
Probably.
He's looking at me, just shaking his head.
And
I'm just like, Jonah, it came off the second time, all right?
Well, I will say, like...
And then he walks away, and I'm like, what do I do with that?
He's a great captain, and he, like, holds everyone to a high standard.
I was there for the meatballs from Big Anthony's. Right?
That's all Greg.
Yep.
I mean, he's a great captain, and he's an amazing fisherman, but that's why he's so extreme.
I promise your dad this would not turn into a Jonah roast. He reluctantly just fist bumped me right there. He didn't even full on fist bump me. You see that? He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do this because we're on camera.
I was very hard to fish with, but I got humbled.
Yeah, he's doing
better. I hope
better.
I'm a little better now.
Humbled.
All right, listen, speaking of humbled, okay, your next question comes from your grandfather, Papa Greg. Okay? Now, listen, the rest of the show here is going to be these questions. Right,
okay.
From here on out. You know, I'd love to spotlight you. Listen, I really wanted to put a spotlight on Lorelei's accomplishments with the CCA and all the different scholarships, things that she won with them, and the groundwork that she laid, and she paved the way for all the young female fishermen of the world, and she definitely is a pioneer in that regard. But we did an entire podcast on that. So if you want to look back at her podcast, do watch that podcast. Right?
CCA podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Your Papa Greg asks, as very successful competitive tournament winners, how do you think you would fare fishing in the late 50s and early 60s?
Oh my gosh, I heard it was wild.
He says we fished in small underpowered boats, sometimes 16 foot with a 45 horsepower engine, no modern electronics. Fishing in 5 to 7 foot seas in a 16 footer is a little different than fishing 35 to 40 foot boats with seakeepers. How would you fare?
Well, I would weigh 12 pounds because I would just be yakking the entire time.
Okay.
They also had a fishery that wasn't entirely demolished and
well, if you look around,
destroyed.
Our fishery is so much more advanced than anywhere else in the world just because it's so competitive, because we have the technologies. I mean, I wish we could go back and just literally like stick a piece of bread out and catch a wahoo.
Even from the 90s are better than anything that you'll really see right now, especially near Pompano, near this East Coast. There are definitely some places where it's still kind of less touched, like you got to Pulley Ridge, even some places out of like St. Augustine where those big wahoos are caught. I mean, Pompano just so overfished, like the ledge, Jupiter Ledge. You see, 300, 400 boats on it a day. Back in, the 60s or 50s, there weren't that many boats there.
Larry, let me bring up a couple things when it comes to this, right? So we talk about all the time about Pompano being the mecca of fishing, right?
Yep.
The cradle of civilization when it comes to fishing. We do view this town that way on this show, all right? And we have multiple guests on the show, very high-level guests, your Skip Danas, your Art Zapps, your Bouncer Smiths, your George Poveromos, and all these guys. And they all agree. Like, you go anywhere in the world where the best fish are being caught, you're going to find someone from Pompano there. It's just going to happen. They're just there. Whether they're mates or captains or people just journeying and touring through, or just, accomplished world anglers that fish in all these different locations. A lot of it comes and stems from Pompano. All right. Now, to compare Pompano now to the way it was then, yeah, it was different. Some can argue some of it is cyclical. Where are the mahi? Like things like that. Like, well, maybe they're still there. Maybe they're just migrating, or maybe they're just decimated. There's arguments for both sides, right? So commercial fishing, Chinese commercial fishing off the Bahamas might be decimating. There's a lot of different factors to think about in that. But also you look at it from a standpoint of, well, the Jordan era, the LeBron era, how can you say that the basketball players in that era are better than the basketball players in this era, and all the different things? It's like, well, it's conditions, right? We're bringing it back to fishing, and when it's, there were more fish then, it's like, okay, if there are more fish then. So anyway, they're innovators back then. The John Lewis and the Skip Smiths and all those guys innovating kite fishing and the different ways that fishing were done now. Now all those secrets are out, right? And that's what you're being raised on, right? And all those secrets that you guys are being taught, but you're perfecting them. You're honing your skills, right? So it's tough to say that the way the conditions were, right, based upon the base conditions are now, it's a level playing field, right? So you're working with what you got.
And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but they used to have to dig out the Hillsborough Inlet when they wanted to go out of it. It was constantly it's not meant to be an inlet. It was constantly filled in. So imagine taking your boat out and just taking your shovel every Saturday morning.
That's crazy. Like, we recently heard that, didn't we? Like, who told us? Who it was? No,
Probably
I know.
me.
No, but I know. But it was like, where did you hear that story?
I used to be a camp counselor, so we took a lighthouse field trip, and we got to hear all about like the barefoot mailmen.
Yeah, that's great.
Digging out.
That's great. So go ahead with what you're going to say, though. I mean, with talking about fishing in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, 80s, 90s, even like today, and like, finish your thought on that?
I just feel like there certainly more pressure on the fish now than ever before. Right?
I agree with you 100%. There's definitely a lot of pressure on the fish.
Like you said, everything's connected by water. Your slogan,
right.
You see, Alex and I talk about this all the time. You see mahis down in the
I
Caribbean.
wasn't disagreeing with you by what I said about that. Like, I'm 100% agreeing with you, but there's like so many factors involved, like why there's pressure now and why it's changed. So.
I mean, everything's connected. So if you put pressure on a fish, like in the Caribbean, those fish swim all the way up here. Like mahis, they can swim all the way up here. So if they're decimating the population, we're not going to have much left.
Right.
Same thing, like some states like North Carolina have less regulations. I think it is North Carolina has less regulations than us.
With especially mahi regulations,
if they're
way
decimating
less.
them,
yeah,
we're not going to have many left. Kingfish,
right.
They'll swim from North Carolina all the way down, all the way through the Gulf. So these fish, even though they're regulated kind of by state sometimes, they're all the same body of fish. So it's hard to, I think it's hard for government to put a tracker on that or to put regulations on that. Because, you see it here, April, May, catch as many kingfish and tunas as you want. Later on in the year, they're just not here. They migrate out. It's harder for the body of fish isn't here still. So it's so hard to put regulations on something that isn't here year round. It's so seasonal.
Yeah.
And how listening to Art about the sharks, it just overpopulation of red snappers. Then you have the Goliaths are going to come back. And the
man, you want to get on the sharks. I mean, you and I could probably be doing an entire
stay off
podcast on that. No, we could stay on it if you want. I mean, we have no problem talking about it. But
we want future jobs.
It's just well, it's not even that. It's just that's a road we can go down. We can do. I mean, we've done countless amounts of podcasts. You've
done it enough.
The funny thing is about the sharking thing and the podcast is that we've done on this show. I mean, we've done sharking podcasts for years on this, and it's almost just now coming to light in a lot of the mainstream circles. Like everyone's starting to do podcasts and different shows on like sharking and the issue, and it's just, and I'm not trying to claim anything on it. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to claim anything on it, but like we brought Patrick Price on and Thomas Osborne, who was the last of the commercial shark fishermen to lose his license. Basically, not lose his license. He gave it up because it just wasn't feasible with all the new laws that were in place. We had him on the show like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe even longer, right? But it's just a road that we can go down. And go down, but it almost seems like now finally, like things are being done about it, which is great, you know what I mean? And now finally coalitions are being built, but and I'm not trying to claim anything on it. There's a host of people that were involved in everything we were trying to do. God rest his soul, Patrick Price, who died of COVID, was really on the forefront of really getting that done, and that's who we brought on the show, like to talk through it. So anyway. I know we definitely spiraled into a tangent on that one, so I'm going to get back to our questions, right? Right. What's that? Questions.
I'm so worried they asked a question.
All right, so thank you, Papa Greg. I don't know if that answered how well you would do in 5 to 7 foot season, 14 football, but I think we got there. Okay, Bouncer Smith. The lovely Bouncer Smith, our very good friend of the program, and just friend in life. Wants to know what your doctorates will be in. It's truly what he asks, right? But he says perhaps you can do a study on how conservation or the lack thereof impacts recreational fishing, or it could have a great impact in the future and today.
Well, I want to go into civil engineering. Mm-hmm. I'll be going to UF in the fall for civil engineering. I originally wanted to look into construction management. Because that's not something we're ever going to lose or not need people for. But so with civil engineering, because it's so broad, it's a branch of environmental engineering and infrastructure engineering. So I don't know necessarily what exact path I want to go in, but setting myself up with that. I mean, I can do a construction minor. I could do like a sustainability in the built environment minor, which I'm really looking at. I could do like a very specific civil engineering into environmental. I mean, really the opportunities are endless, but because of CCA, I was really drawn down the path of infrastructure, especially, I mean, you see right now our water flow issues within the Everglades and below. That's something that is going to need to be fixed soon, and we're not going to stop needing jobs for that one.
Governor.
Oh, goodness. I feel like I'd get way too mad at many people for that one.
What's your thoughts on conservation for the future of the state?
Lorelei has much more technical experience than me with CCA and what she learned there, but I mean, I just go off of what I see and what I hear from captains like Art, captains like Alex, guys that are out there every day that tell me this wasn't like this 5 years ago. This wasn't like this 10 years ago. Why is this happening now? And I don't think I'm all that smart, but I think about it a lot when I'm sitting there dazing off, sleeping, while running
catching his goggle
eyes.
eyes.
Listen. I think you are that smart, right? And I really firmly believe that between the two of you, you probably could solve this whole conservation bit.
Well, I think a lot of it
single-handedly or double-handedly
to how much money is in conservation. There's
and
now you're talking
the politics involved.
If like we're students, we want to go to college. If we collect college debt, pay it off quickly by having a good job that supports us. So if you're not going to make money researching conservation, no one's going to do it.
Right.
Until, you're established, your job's fine, and then you may start looking into it on the side or using your voice to try to help other people do it or fund other people to do it, but we're not there yet.
And right now we have such a strong Florida governor.
Very good answer, by the way.
We have such a strong Florida governor who is so strong for conservation and
Ronnie's
is working
the man.
So and he's Uncle Ron. He's working
Yep.
he's working so much with CCA and like organizations. Basically they can put something on his desk and he will work with it. He's not just going to push it away immediately. They're providing the research for it and he is willing to work with them. So I think we have a bright future in that sense. I think we're probably more ahead than most states in that way. But we probably have more issues than most states conservationally because we have more waterways.
Very sensitive environment.
conservationally too, a lot of the studies, do they really show everything that's happening? Like how are you going to count how many fish actually swam through our area? Are you going to send someone out with a tank and start counting? What's going to happen? Fish are going to swim away from you. Like how are you actually going to study, hey, we have an issue here, when the people that are going to study it aren't there every day. They don't see the patterns. So it's tough when, especially like, you can have your voices on a petition, but how much of that will actually be seen unless you're pushing for it with every ounce of you for year after year after year?
We're going to make it like the sun pass. Like when they pass Jupiter Ledge, they like have to like check in. That'll be like one kingfish going through.
This is the reason why I love having guys like Art Sapp and Skip Dana on the show all the time, because they thoroughly explain and are involved in a lot of these programs and argue to the hilt with these scientists and these politicians, and they are on boards, they are on organizations, and they try to explain till they're blue in the face about, hey, listen, that dude that you put on a boat to try to catch the fish that we're arguing about is fishing in the wrong spot. They're not collecting the right data because they're not in the right spot. Why don't you listen to the guy that is in the right spot every single day? Part of the problem, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, but listen, you mentioned money. At the end of the day, we need smart guys like you guys making these calls, making these decisions, someone who can really look at these with level heads. So let's move on to the next question. So the next one comes from Steve Fishman.
Oh, my favorite.
Right? And I did get one in from Steve-O. Right? Nicest guy on the planet Earth.
Love him.
Right?
So he's our biggest fan. We love him.
Every captain's meeting.
Yeah.
Go find Steve.
It's funny when I text him, I go, hey, Steve, I got Lorelei and Jonah on the show. I'm like, you got a couple questions for me? He goes, man, I love those kids.
Oh.
Tell them I call them next generation. Right? Jonah will go to the end of the world to get bait and find the fish. Ask them where they get that extra energy from.
Oh, goodness. Jonah has like there's something in him that just, he can't not bait fish. Like, he will not sleep if we don't have the proper amounts of bait for tournaments.
If
like,
something has to be done, I'll go do it.
Yeah.
So especially when it's something I enjoy, like fishing, if there's something that needs to be done, no one else is going to do it, I'll figure that away.
And no one can keep up with him. Like, he will bring so many different people bait fishing, and they'll just disappear after. Like, they'll be like, never again.
I burn them out.
And I mean, it's fun. And then when he gets to his Speedos, it's like, if it doesn't go right in the well, it's a war zone.
Speedo fish, to clarify for everyone, you don't wear Speedos when you fish.
He does.
Yeah. Catch him in the Bahamas.
That's great. All right, so we're going to start rifling through some of these questions here, because I've been doing a horrible job of asking the questions, but I keep getting sidetracked with you guys. Yeah, all right. Your uncle Ricky Mueller asked two questions. Okay. When you were babies, you seemed to have your own form of communication between you, almost your own language. Do you remember anything about that, and do you still?
I don't think we have our own language, but I like when something's happening, I will always know how Jonah's going to react, like to a T.
She knows how to read me very well. There is no twin telepathy. Doesn't happen with us.
Sometimes it's like a
like a look or a notion.
But when we do work together, don't get in the way.
Okay.
Watch out.
It happens. Like whenever I want to go fishing, I know who to talk to. Hey Lola, can you scoot something over with Mom real quick?
It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Another baby question. When you were babies at the beach, the one thing I found to be most different about you both is Jonah hated the sand touching his skin, and Lola didn't care if she got sand in her mouth. So I don't know what the question is. There's no question there. But
well, Uncle Ricky, the tables have turned. Now Jonah's the messy one who's always in kingfish slime. I'm surprised he's in a clean shirt today, actually.
Yeah, I pulled one out of the back of the closet.
There you go. So
saving for this occasion.
Well, I guess here's the question. Wait, sorry. Besides fishing, what do you have most and least in common?
We're both very driven. Like I would say, if we want something, like it's gonna get done. Least in common?
I agree.
Jonah doesn't really know the whole personal feelings thing.
Lorelei has a social life.
The heart.
She has a social life. She knows how to communicate with people, and I only know how to communicate with certain
Fish.
people.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely
not
think
everyone,
he
when
doesn't.
when I say something, it doesn't come off right to many people, unfortunately. It's something
Okay.
I'm working on. But Lorelei's good at that. Sometimes I ask her to translate for me, and it goes over pretty well usually.
It's called Jonah Translate.
Gotcha.
It's my new app.
Gotcha. Barney Heath asks, what do you wish you could do as well as your sibling?
Work without sleeping for days. Like
Okay.
Jonah has, like, he just won't sleep for days at a time. I can't do that. Like, I would say we both fish hard, but I don't know anyone who fishes as hard as he does. Always.
Okay.
I would say I wish I could communicate as good as my caring and loving sister.
Wow, what a heart. All right, next questions comes from Jennifer Sneed Sullivan.
Oh.
And she
Roomies.
asks, does Jonah and his future college roommate have anything in common? And if so, what exactly?
For the record, I set Jonah up with his soon-to-be college roommate.
Yeah.
They're besties already.
She did. So for those of you who don't know, Miss Sullivan has a son. Well, multiple sons actually, but I'm going with the eldest, Zach, and we're going to be roommates at UF. And one of the things Lorelei said was, you both have dads with Freemans. Both your dads are dentists. Both of you love to fish. Why don't you ask him to be your roommate? I'm like, wow, Lorelei, you're a genius. So I texted Zach, and sure enough, we'll be roommates in the fall.
She's good like that. She
is.
really, listen, there's so many things that she does here that, like, I don't want to say go unseen, but that just, like, glue that connects this place together that's going to be missed. That really, you know, I get it, is my point. You know, I see it every day, all the time. So that's good stuff. That's a great quality that she has, right? Harris Katz, my business partner and friend, says, when push comes to shove, whose knot is more dependable?
I feel like Jonah would, if, like, we were both thinking on boats, he would save his boat.
Yeah?
I would say so. I would agree.
You
Lola's
seem
got
shocked with this.
Lola's got a lot
that's
better
what you
with-
just said.
a lot better with the actual fluoro knots and the mono knots, but when it comes to wire, I probably would have put hers out tournament day. She's getting there.
Dang. He's
Okay.
calling on my rigs
She's
now.
getting
At
there.
least I'm helping him with rigs.
She
Yeah.
does.
All right.
Say most sisters want to do that.
All right. Who does
Yeah,
the
Brianna
who
wanted-
does the faster uni to uni?
Jonah, all day.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I get to do it more, so it's like I
Yeah,
don't know how
I
to
have
do an
a real-
Excel
I have
spreadsheet.
a real job.
If you
he
had-
has
If you had me come in here on Lorelei's job, I'd be so lost. Your building would be burning in about 30 minutes. Customers be calling, I'd be like, hello? This is not the right studio. Turn them down because I don't know what to do.
The next set of questions come from your parents.
Oh, goodness.
All right. So, number one comes from your mother, Mindy Bennett. Ask them to name a chapter in my parenting handbook
So,
and ask them what the title of the future bestseller is.
so her book is going to be called You're Doing It Wrong. And she needs
Liz
to write
writes
this
the
book.
same book. I don't know.
I definitely think there's going to be a chapter. Oh, this is hard.
Well, there are going to be a lot of chapters, so it's hard to narrow it down to one. What's your favorite?
My personal favorite is trying to get Jonah to communicate what he's doing on the weekends, because there are times when we're like, where's Jonah?
It's a long name for a chapter.
I think he's I think she has like a notes list
Why
of this.
don't you say so, Mom? Uh,
Repeat that because she's not mic'd.
Oh, it's the take away the pacifier in the bottle on the first birthday, coming from the dentist's wife.
Okay.
Potty
Pot-
trained before too.
Okay.
keep
Great
going.
chapters. It's my
Where-
favorite.
The audience wants to know. Because I'm doing
They
it
They
can
wrong.
combine the book. I love it. I love it. All right.
No smartphone
no,
before 15.
no iPad at the dinner table.
All right. All right. All right. Cool. So we're following all those rules in our house currently, right? So
Write the book,
although
Mom.
Sienna pushes the limit on the daily, so yeah. All right. Part 2 of the Mindy Mommy question.
Mama Dukes.
How would you describe growing up in Pompano with our fishing community to someone not from here?
Oh, that's so hard. I recently had to do this.
Get ready to be thrown into a moving object in moving seas, potentially get rained on, potentially be sweating, and then you come back and you feel like you've been hit in 100 places by a sledgehammer and you want to go back out.
Pompano is it's a small town surrounded by big cities. If you don't know someone, you have a friend who knows that person. And I mean, there's things so I can promise that if there's any kids my age watching this, they've probably been through junior lifeguard camp. They've probably, there's just a list of different Pompano specific events that only Pompano kids would understand. And it's something that, it's so hard to leave because you're not going to be able to come back and find all of your same friends.
It's like a giant frat.
It's not a giant frat. It's much more, it's nicer than that. We don't have trash on the floor.
Oh my God. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, like she said,
I'm not even going to comment on it. It's just absolutely fantastic. All right, the next set of questions comes from your father, Dr. Jimmy Bennett.
Dr. Pebbles.
Dr. Pebbles. Where is your dream fishing destination and what are you targeting?
Oh, that's hard. We go to Costa Rica to fish and we've heard such great things. Our trip wasn't amazing. Hopefully we'll have another one. I feel like Hawaii. You'll get the marlin and you get the surfing all in one. It's pretty good. What are you thinking, Jonah?
Thinking hard. The rigs out in Venice are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Venice
you
rigs.
can go from catching 60, potentially 70-pound kingfish
And wahoo.
to, oh, look, there's a yellowfin tuna on the long.
Literally.
So that's awesome over there.
Yeah, the rigs, and it's so different than what we have here. So that's a dream trip.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, you guys are so young, but I know your foundation is so solid. And, I just completely foresee places like Tropic Star Lodge in Panama and places like Madeira going for grandeurs, like, in your future. I really do.
I mean, we don't really have the sailfish or the billfish bug because we've never really been
Yeah, but I'm
introduced to
saying,
that.
it's like, I think you guys are going to eventually evolve to that. Either that or just completely catching world record fish in the flats on fly. And, and just, I just see you guys evolving in special ways. I really do. It's a good question, Jimmy, for sure. Yeah. Would you rather tournament fish or fun fish?
Tournament fish. Actually,
without hesitation. Look at that.
Well,
oh my God. I don't even
Doing
think I
something right.
finished the word fish at that point.
well, okay. I
Oh
say
my
that.
God.
I
I say
haven't
that.
turned you away after 5 years.
Every week she's like, there's a tournament. Can I take off work? The tournament. Can I take? I'm like, yes. Just
I
go.
say that,
Just do your
but
thing.
sometimes during a tournament, I'm like, why do we do this? Why do we spend so much money for this?
I love it, tournament fishing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you guys are all
where,
about
where
it.
memories are made, friendships are made and broken.
and I mean,
It made 'em
you're
broken.
out there with everyone else too. So I mean,
You're not sufficient.
it's great. We send Jonah for swims on the ledge sometimes.
I love playing the biggest game of Can I Touch You to the commercial kingfish boats on Jupiter Ledge.
Yeah, they're big fans of the Twin-Sanity.
They hate our
too.
boat. For some reason, they hate our boat. Poppy's boat.
This next question is going to be a little emotional. All right. I say the word emotional. Jerry starts crying.
I'm not crying yet.
I'm not crying. You're crying. All right. So it comes from Skip Dana. And it's worth noting that was kind of like your first job, wasn't it? Working on the Fish City Pride.
That was my first job.
Right.
fishing.
How old were you? 14. Right. Working on the Fish City Pride. So that's fantastic stuff. To lighten the load, I'm going to ask the first part of this question, and Skip wants to know, Jonah, was it cold living in Lorelei's shadow?
It was always a dark place. Maybe that's why I turned out this way. So dark and cold
Bitter.
and soulless. Bitter.
But in all seriousness, it was a pleasure watching both you grow up into the young adults you've become. It was also a pleasure to watch the progression of the Twin-Sanity team from little kids on the Mako to now killing it on the Freeman. Both of you kids have had opportunities to fish with some really great fishermen and teams. What is the one thing you've learned that all successful teams do?
I would say it's all in the preparation. It's all in making sure you have your head on straight for the day, no matter if it's like knowing where you're going beforehand or knowing what rig bag your stingers are in kind of thing. It's all about preparation and having the entire team prepare, because if you have 3 people doing all the preparation, you're going to fall apart on game day.
Huh.
Okay, someone has a real job and helps with our food preparation. Thank you very much.
I
You
guess
gotta
I
high five
count
it
as
there. That
3
was-
people.
Listen, this is why she makes the big bucks. This right. This
So
is why
five-
this is why
This is why-
October 9th is squarely
August.
black on my calendar. It's because this girl delivers every single day. She really does. Solid. Huh. Was the perfect answer to that.
The 5 P's are a good one. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, but also staying calm when everything is
I could give
happening.
the same answer to that one.
You're calm?
Well, I never said we were a successful team. I'm talking about like when you go fish with Blue Moon, you fish with
So that's a
Digger
page out of the Art Sap book too, the staying
fish,
calm.
like talking to
Right.
James DeMarco, fishing with Art. It's like all the best captains are so calm when
They truly
things
are.
hitting the fan. So it's like you have 50-pound fish, 60-pound fish on, and people are going crazy. You got a shark on it. They're not yelling. They're not screaming. They're saying, all right, keep reeling. Go to your right. Go to your left.
Imagine the patience it takes being Art Sap, being successful tournament after tournament after tournament. And let's say you got 20 sailfish notched and you're maybe still not there yet. You're 2 fish short. Or you're up 2 fish and you're just trying to clear it. And that one fish hits at 3 o'clock, 3:30, and this is your last fish of the day, and maybe that's the fish that puts you over the top. How hard is it not to just scream and yell and just be like, I'm locking this in, get that fish, right? But you just stay cool as a cucumber and imagine the strength and power that's in that.
Definitely a lot of practice for that
They've
one.
been there before.
Yeah.
You know, I've like when we won the Fort Pierce King Mac Invitational. There's no celebration from Alex. Just fish hit the deck, and we didn't know we won it with that, but it's like we got a good fish. He's like, all right, send him back out. We actually had a 30-pounder just sitting on the rod in the rod holder. Just started reeling that one in too. You just keep going on what you were doing. You don't start freaking out. You know, so many teams will just stop fishing and start taking pictures and celebrating, and it's how rumors start. How a 30-pound kingfish ends up being 50, which happens a lot, but and they've
Nice.
been there before. It's nothing new to them, so why would they freak out?
Gotcha. Good answer. Tony Mello asks,
Tony.
Team
Jonah, what's your go-to dance move and can you show us?
Go-to dance move. I'm afraid I don't have many of those. I did the moonwalk pretty good at one
Oh,
of
yeah.
at our
Moonwalk?
Prom?
At prom, Jonah moonwalked it out.
All right.
I did.
I like it.
I was proud of that.
I don't think your cord's long enough to get up and moonwalk
no,
right now.
it's not.
Insert video here.
Tony, if you catch a wahoo in the showdown, I'll show you.
All right. This next, and Tony, he asks a second question. I hesitate to even ask it because it's, but I'm going to ask it. This is Lorelei, which would you prefer to have as your roommate? A pig or Jonah?
Well, okay, if it's Tony's pig, Tony has a whole farm. For anyone
Oh, he
who
does?
doesn't know, he has a
Okay.
whole farm.
All right.
And
I feel
a mini
better
heifer.
asking
Go
that
see his
question
mini
then.
cow.
He has a mini cow. Yep. Go follow her on TikTok.
Aurora the cow.
It really depends on the day, Tony.
Your Aunt Nancy asks, who is the better chummer?
I take pride in my work.
You take pride in your work. Good stuff. All right. And our last set of questions comes from a one trade a buck.
Oh gosh,
Will you marry me?
I'm so worried.
So I'm gonna squash that right now. That is not a question on the list.
Unfortunate.
It's not a question on the list. For both, who is the better athlete and who is more competitive?
Oh, it depends on what sport we're talking about. Because I would destroy him in water polo and swimming.
I would love for you to go against me in water polo. Swimming respectively for our genders, you would crush me.
Yeah.
I'm
Really?
just stronger because I'm taller than you now.
Okay.
She held that over me for a long
could-
time. It's still a cold spot in my heart.
I could win in CrossFit.
Let's see tomorrow morning.
CrossFit champ out here.
She talks a lot of talk, but doesn't walk the walk. Who has the school record? 2?
I
Two
have
school records?
one for the record. But I think competitively, I'm more silently competitive. He's openly competitive.
Yeah, I'll just
Okay.
look over my shoulder
can
one
see
day,
that.
and she's like brainstorming these crazy ideas. I'm like, how? What? Like, I haven't even thought about what I'm gonna have for breakfast. She's planning on how to take over the world. So she's definitely silently competitive.
Work in the shadows.
The second question from Trey is, Lorelei, who is your biggest supporter?
Oh, this is so hard. I have Dennis. I'm not kidding. Dennis, you. I feel like whenever we have someone walks in,
Don't make me cry.
we have to. I'm getting there, Mom.
I'm kidding.
we have Dennis has a mental spiel. He doesn't need a list. He's like, this is my super assistant, and that makes me I'm not kidding. When I was writing my college applications, I was like, what would Dennis say?
Aw.
And definitely my parents. They always cheer me on, even though they didn't come to my last high school state swim meet for the keys.
Wow.
Wow.
At least you thought they'd come to your event.
No, they definitely cheer me on, especially when it comes to beating Jonah.
Mm-hmm.
And Trey, you're such a great fan.
Listen. This kid is trying to act tough right now. She's totally trying to act tough right now. Jonah, who's your biggest supporter?
Certainly not my parents.
Alex Burgess.
No, my dad is always there for me unless we do, and my mother always carries us. Whenever I want to do something, she allows me to most of the time when it goes along with her philosophy of you're doing it wrong. But definitely Alex Burgess, my captain. He supports me a lot. If I ever have any questions about what I want to do with my life, I'm having a midlife crisis at the age of 18, I'd go to Alex.
Okay, I'm going to interject real quick. Okay. And we're getting close to the end of this whole thing that we're doing right now. Okay. Your parents are amazing people. No doubt about it. Incredible people. Some of the best people that I know. Some of the best friends that I have. Okay. And I know for a fact they have done an amazing job with both of you guys. Right? Do not ever question for a second that those two people over there sitting at that bar are your biggest supporters, both of you. They always will be. For the rest of your lives. For the rest of their lives. You will never have anyone in your corner more so than those people over there. They have fought hard for you. They have done everything for you. They have shown you the toughest love to get you to the point where you are today. Okay? Whether it's fun, whether it's fishing, whether it's school, whether it's putting food in your mouths. Okay? Those two people are the reason you're both on that scholarship level, the reason that you guys both have the morals and the groundwork that you have, both reason that you guys have the faith in God that you have. Okay? Do not ever forget that for as long as you live.
I can't look over to thank them because I know my mom's in tears right now.
I can tell you that right now. I know that for a fact. Okay? The last question is, who's better, the Gators or the Bulls?
Go Gators.
Both of you are leaving for the University of Florida soon. We couldn't be prouder. Okay? Couldn't be prouder of the people that you become. Couldn't be prouder of the people that you're going to be. I see nothing but the brightest future ahead for you both. I love you both. Okay? And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to miss you both. But you're not leaving. You're only going away for a little bit.
We'll be back.
Okay? You'll be back.
Well, I may
Okay.
not be back.
All right? I want to thank you guys.
I may be deployed. Depends on what we decide to do as a country in the next 9-10 years.
I'll be back for you, Dennis. Don't worry.
Thank you. Very
I'll
much.
email you
Very
from the
much.
ship.
Jimmy and Mindy, thank you very much.
Good work,
Right.
parental units.
All right. Good
Thank
work,
you,
parental
parents.
units. Exactly. I know Yanni's like, man, you went for 2 hours on this one, but
Sorry, Yanni.
I'll be honest with you. To me, it flew by like that because I could just talk about you two forever, and
Thanks,
I
Dennis.
really can. And if it went a little long to the audience, I'm sorry, but I didn't even begin to cover you two. on this podcast. I really didn't. But I hope people got a lot out of this, and I hope that you guys got a lot out of this. And I want to wish you both the best for your upcoming adventure. It's going to be great. It's going to suck when you leave initially, but you guys will get used to it, and it's going to be a great time. Okay. When you guys actually do start ruling the planet, don't forget about me.
Try not to.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's all I want to say.
It's okay. You
All
can
right?
still call
Okay.
me.
Yeah, I will call you like daily, weekly. So,
Or I have a shipment.
yeah, right. Jonah Bennett, Lorelei Bennett, you guys are the best.
Thanks,
You
Dennis.
guys
Thanks,
truly mean just a lot to me. And what's that? Pumped and proud.
Oh yeah.
And
Day one.
you know, and you guys truly embody everything that it means to be connected by water. So thank you very much. Your ego is
Boss
not
of the
your
earth,
ego,
Dennis.
right? Your ego is not your amigo. Always do your best, and at the end of the day, just let God do the rest. And do not ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're all
Connected by water.
Thank you.